Today, I would like to introduce you to this guy. On YouTube, he likes to call himself gorilla199, but on one occasion he also called himself the Messenger of Fire. We'll get back to that later. One thing you should know about him is that he likes to re-educate people, and he also likes to bring them to Jesus. On one occasion, he claimed Jesus spoke to him in his dream. Now let us listen to some of his educated claims.
God made everything amazing, but he also made things simple, and he told us how they work. Einstein was an idiot. He was also a Freemason. Same thing. He was also a scientist. Same thing again. 2 and 2 equals 4. That's the end of the matter.
The last one was quite scientific actually. 2 and 2 equals 4, there's no doubt about that. But let's have a look why he thinks Einstein was an idiot.
Einstein saw mass and space, matter and space, as connected in the sense that you could explain gravity by saying that mass distorts space, that it exerts some force on it. Space is curved in the vicinity of matter, and the planets follow the shortest path on the curved surface of space.
So massive objects bend space itself.
Oh dear. God said that he hangs the earth on nothing, and space is a void, it is a nothing, therefore it cannot curve.
Poor old gorilla. You see, Einstein's theories on gravity play with the idea of more than 3 dimensions. The curvature of space shown as a grid in his video, according to Einstein's theories, occurs in another dimension. The grid serves one sole purpose, and that purpose is easier visualization for non-scientists, much like gorilla199. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to ridicule gorilla199, or anyone else who's telling you silly stories on the internet. Now my problem with him and his alike is that some people actually turn to the internet for education. I know from my own experience. But who would want their children learning from an idiot like gorilla199? There's nothing he can teach you. He can tell you stories about Jesus and about how much he hates the world around him, but he can't teach you anything real. Just listen to him taking on Isaac Newton this time, and how he explains his own gorilla-style laws of motion.
I have heard some very, very, very incredibly stupid people say things such as, well, out in space, how a rocket is propelled, the thrust comes out the back, and the thrust pushes against the rocket and the rocket goes along. Oh really, O'Reilly? I don't think so somehow. In that case, you can actually run a jet in a vacuum and make it move in a vacuum. Not possible, because it would be sucking in nothing and blowing out nothing, unlike these people who keep promoting the lies of science, because all they seem to do is suck in cold air and blow out hot air. What a load of rubbish. It's impossible, and it's amazing. It really is astounding how many people believe this claptrap. Equal and opposing forces. It speaks for itself. There is nothing in space to push against. So the thrust cannot push against anything. Therefore it cannot push the rocket away. No.
I find it amazing how many people believe this guy. Now let me put things right for you. Newton's third law of motion states that every action creates an equal and opposite reaction. You might as well call it equal and opposing forces. In this case, the fuel and oxidizer explodes in the combustion chamber of a rocket, and if the force created by the explosion can push exhaust in one direction, then its equal and opposing force will push the rocket in the opposite direction, thus moving it forward or upwards. Here we have a simplified model of a rocket. Now notice that the combustion chamber is closed. If there was an explosion inside, then the created forces would push in all directions, which means the rocket wouldn't move. As soon as we open one side of the chamber, the gases will be able to escape through a special nozzle that increases power, and the forces that were pushing on the bottom of the chamber will be released, thus allowing the remaining forces to move the rocket in the opposite direction. Now that's enough physics for one day. You see, gorilla199 is an expert in many fields, and one of them is the Ice Age and polar shift. Watch this as he explains how mammoths made it to the North Pole and froze there to death.
A scientific issue which claims that the North Pole was in fact once a lush rainforest.
Okay, that's a good one. The North Pole was once a lush rainforest. I don't know what scientists he's been talking to, but I've never heard any scientists say that. Anyway, let's keep watching.
Even dinosaurs, complete dinosaurs, frozen with flesh and all, have been found in the North Pole. The North Pole that you know now was not where it was before. The land mass underneath it was somewhere perhaps in the Pacific, where the Pacific would have been now, a landmass where these creatures lived. And when the pole shift came, when the Great Flood came, which were the same thing, there was a pole shift, these animals were transported from the area which would have been around the equator to the north of the planet Earth, because the whole Earth shifted, the poles shifted, and there they froze. And all around the world preparations are being made for the return of Satan and the fallen angels who came and put all these abominations on this earth, like mammoths and other creatures which kill humans.
Okay, now there are 3 points gorilla199 is making. The first one is that there were complete dinosaurs found under the ice of the North Pole. The second one is that there is a landmass under the North Pole ice. And the third one is that mammoths were abominations that killed humans. Well, I hate to be the one to break this to you, Gorilla, but no one has ever found a mammoth, let alone a dinosaur, in the North Pole. Reason is simple. There is no landmass under the North Pole, you idiot. There is just 2 to 3 meters thick layer of ice, and some 4,000 meters deep Arctic Ocean underneath it. And that mammoths were abominations? I'm not even sure you know how to spell abomination. But if an animal's ability to kill a human qualifies it for an abomination, then most of the wildlife we know must consist of abominations. A lion can kill a man, a wolf can kill a man, even a giraffe can kill a man. So you see, gorilla199's conclusions are not only uneducated, they are, to say the least, idiotic. Although he claims to be a God-fearing Christian who praises Jesus Christ, he still lives in sin. Not that I have anything against couples who live together without being married, but he was also convicted of a crime, of copyright infringement to be exact. The judge even made it a condition of his 2 years supervision by probation that he received treatment for mental health problems. Now some people may think this was some kind of a conspiracy against gorilla199. If you believe that, then have a look at this. Now if you are a fan of gorillas, then you probably know that he used to run a website called letthetruthbeknown.com. What most of you don't know is that in order to have a website, you need to have a domain name. In this case, the domain name was letthetruthbeknown.com. Now, in order to have a domain name, you first have to buy it. And when you buy something on the internet, you have to register your details. And the details can usually be accessed through a database of domain names. It's called Whois. So if you go to a Whois website and type in letthetruthbeknown.com, you will see these details that he registered. Let me just point out that gorilla199, in this case, is the customer, and whoever he registered his domain name with is a business, so they have a business-to-customer relationship. Now, who in their right mind would call himself, in a business relationship, the messenger of fire? There are many more stupid things gorilla199 tells people, and I only hope that after watching this video, at least some people will think twice before they believe his rubbish. All you have to do is think.